Michael.
Yes, Asha, you could bring us up to speed. I know you did a documentary not too long ago talking about the challenges that we have in Mandera. Maybe you could just bring us up to speed and update us on what you had found out.
Yes, Michael, you remember last year, Mandera County was really a victim of very numerous terror attacks by the al-Shabaab militants in that area. Reason being that it's our border town. Essentially, it's the one county that has a really long stretching border between Kenya and Somalia. And even before we talk about Terror Crossing, the documentary that aired on KTN in April this year, earlier this morning, I spoke to the county commissioner of that county, Alex Olenkoyo. He's one of the people that we interviewed for our documentary. And he just pointed out how this attack was very calculated, very well calculated. First and foremost, he says, in that area near the livestock market, there are lights, street lights, that are usually solar powered. And on this particular evening, this particular morning, actually Tuesday morning at 1 a.m., those lights were off, tampered with. That means that people had actually really planned for a while that they didn't want to be seen, and they wanted the cover of the night to conceal the attackers of this particular incident. So we had a number of people, a number of gunmen coming into this residential area, and they blew up the gate with what is suspected to be either a petrol bomb or a grenade, went into the house and shot indiscriminately at all these people. And this is just showing you how much of a soft spot Mandera is. One of the reasons being that the police officers on the ground are really not motivated. They're paid a paltry 20 shillings a day as hardship allowance. And further from that, Michael, you remember that the government announced that they will be constructing a wall on that border. But even before the construction plans were underway, we visited that border, and what we saw shocked us, because residents from Somalia would come in with goods, cross into Kenya, and go back into Somalia without even a proper check at the border. Just look at this. It's just a short snippet of the documentary. As much as the county commissioner paints a picture of political and clan interests interfering with the war against terror, one thing does not add up. If it's true that there's a deliberate attempt by the national government to improve security in Mandera, why then can al-Shabaab move freely in and out of Mandera? Naturally, our next stop is the border. The Kenyan government has admitted that one of the largest contributing factors to the increasing terror threat in Kenya is the porous border, especially here in Mandera. At this border point, for instance, only a handful of officers during the day will man this area. They'll check contraband coming in from Somalia into Kenya. But to my right, stretching hundreds of kilometers into Elwak town, the border is open. No one is manning it. But perhaps the most distressing bit of it is that during the night, it's too risky for a few officers to come out here to man the border. So, when darkness falls, this area is pretty much a playground for anyone on either side to go in and out. The day patrols only leave more questions in our minds. The police checks are surprising. We stand to observe as this man drives his donkey cart from Somalia into Kenya. He's got a load full of charcoal. The search begins. A few glimpses later, and the charcoal trader is free to proceed. His donkeys slowly rolling into Kenyan territory. It's not hard to imagine what else could be so easily hidden and ferried into the country in broad daylight. As we stroll along the border point and back into town, in Nairobi, big plans are underway.
From border point 1, we want now to close the border. That will reduce the porous border, the entries into our country. And so we will be starting the construction of the border next week.
But back in Mandera, the wall construction plan is not received too well. Police officers on the ground know that a wall will not do much to deter terrorists from crossing over. More than anything, a wall won't seal off secrets that lie within this border town.